Hey team, today on Step Outside Podcast, we head to the oldest campground in the Sunshine State of Queensland, Cotton Tree Park, and talking to park manager, who's been there for 18 years, Trent Hammill. He's a colourful character, spent a lot of time in the far northern Gulf region around Weipa, also in the arid western regions of Queensland. Sit back, it's time to put your headphones on for Step Outside Podcast. G'day everybody, welcome to Step Outside with Paul Burt podcast. We are joined by Trent, who is the park manager here at the beautiful Cotton Tree Caravan and Camping Grounds. Hello, mate. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. My wife and I run Cotton Tree Holiday Park.
Yep.
We have done, the family's been running it for the last probably 18 years now. Nat and I took over in probably about 2007, 2006. We took over and took hold of the reins of the park, and since then we've grown it and to what it is today.
Mate, it's a stop-off point for many Southerners, particularly when obviously, restrictions weren't in lockdown for Victoria.
Yes.
And we're seeing some borders reopening around the place. And of course, it was a very quiet time for Southerners to be here, which is, I can understand why they'd come to Cotton Tree because the outlook is amazing. Mm. But how did this affect you with local people wanting to come and experience what you have on offer here at the Caravan Park?
Obviously, we couldn't have anyone here like everywhere else in Australia. Mm. We had essential travellers and essential workers that were allowed to stay at the park. Out of our sites, we've got just under 500 sites. We had probably about 20, 25 people staying here as families or essential workers or people that have sold their houses. Yep. Were about to do a big lap. Yep. Had nowhere to go, had to stay in their van. So we obviously set up paperwork for them to sign so they could be here. Out of our 5 amenity blocks, we only had 1 open. Yep. Just to service that, but mostly you had to be pretty well self-contained.
And one thing I've noticed coming here today is that's in the past. Yeah. It is booming. Yeah. Mate, it is an amazing stop-off point. Anyone travelling around the country that wants to come and experience the oldest campground here in Queensland, this is the place to do it. Now, tell me about Cotton Tree. How did it become the oldest? What made it so nostalgic?
So Cotton Tree kind of started back in the late 1800s. The Salvation actually had a camp here for the guys coming back from the Boer War. So they set up a respite kind of for those guys coming back after the trauma they probably saw overseas. Yep. And it kind of kicked off from there. And from then it's grown from strength to strength. And I think in the last probably 25 years, caravan industry has come leaps and bounds.
Especially the last 12 months.
The last 12 months it's gone. Yeah.
Well, you try and get a caravan now, it takes 12 months to get one built.
It certainly does, yeah.
It's crazy.
Couple of the brand names out there, they absolutely killing it. They can't, obviously a lot of people got shut down in COVID and they're starting to open up now, but obviously people want to get outside and enjoy what we've got. And in our shutdown, the guys from council were working really hard to redo our sandbags that we've got out the front here. Just in front of us where we are now, there was probably a 40-metre hole. And they had 2 35-tonne excavators sitting there digging sand out, which was pretty amazing. And they had Volvo trucks running up down the beach.
It looked like a mining site.
It did look like a mining site, but there was no one here. My kids loved it after the guys knocked off because there was about a 60-metre sandhill there, which they went down the bodyboards on after. But
gold.
It is. Look, it's done now, and hopefully it'll hold it for a few more years.
Mate, the area here at the entrance to the Maroochy River is just a wide expanse of water. There are sandbanks throughout this area. Paint the picture for those who are working out or you're driving to work. Is that it really is an area that's environmentally friendly. Yes. The water is super clean, and also it's teeming with fish. There's birds out there. There's people on paddle boards, kayaks. The bar system is just here that takes you out into the mighty Pacific. But, mate, it also offers protection for families with children to come to this area as well.
Oh, for sure. And, like, you've got the little kids, you've got the river, which is right this side, and then on the right-hand side of where we are, you've got the surf side, which is for the older kids surfing, and like my kids are at that age now. They've kind of progressed through around the point there, which is fantastic, and that's what it's all about, getting outside with your kids and enjoying them. Before they grow up.
It is. Now, we were talking earlier about transitioning from one place to another when we're talking about travelling around, making a person who they are. Mate, you spent a lot of time up in the Cape.
Yeah, been up there for a while. Yep. Been out to Roma, lived out in Roma for a while as well, so been around and done a few fun things with four-wheel driving. What's one of your most stickiest moments here when it comes to four-wheel driving, mate? I think gunshot's always got to be up the top of the list, hasn't it?
I got to, yeah, it is. Gunshot gorge or alley. That little area up there inside Weaver. That's a bit of a gnarly, sort of a treacherous area.
Yeah, look, any of those kind of tracks up there are pretty good. Cheers, mate.
Good on you, mate.
It all depends how you want to drive them too. You know, you can. The wet season up there is pretty incredible. The sheer amount of water that you could be sitting in a creek that's got nothing in it within it'll race at 2 or 3 metres in a heartbeat.
It's incredible, isn't it?
And it's good fun. You got to go out there and experience it.
I remember one time we were heading up there. We're going past towards Cloncurry, staying at the old Wagon Wheel Hotel, and the siren came on the early 2000s, came on the radio and on the TV, and it was Cyclone Larry. So we decided to bolt to the west to Mount Isa, of which we were then getting the tail end of Larry coming through because it was wiping its way towards the bottom end of the Gulf. We thought, oh, we'll bugger this. It's not much to do on Mount Isa, so we buggered up the Burke and Wills track up towards heading up towards Normanton.
Yeah.
Of which that raging torrent water you're telling us about is we got to Normanton to get to Corumba. We were on an inland sea where one bridge would be 20 metres above a water area, and within 5 minutes it was 10 metres under the water.
Yeah, for sure.
And that sort of water, I guess, thoroughfare, it happens a lot up in the far north.
It does, and it's pretty scary too. If you get caught in it, look out. Yeah,
yeah.
It's pretty scary.
Find the highest mountain.
That's it, and drive real fast.
Drive real fast.
Drive real fast.
Any scary moments in your place and time up there around the Crocodile area at all there, Trent?
Yeah, for sure. Like there's a few times there. We did a fair bit of pigging up there as well. Obviously, fishing's the main thing up there, but there's a couple of times when the big snapping lizards kind of take you by surprise. I've got some good photos actually of mates coming through on quad bikes, and we knew there was a croc nest up there, and coming through, and actually on the photos back in those days we didn't have the iPhones and the cameras and the GoPros and stuff you got today, and this croc is near my mate on his quad. We did have rifles on board, but we never got too close.
No.
Yeah, but they're always there. It's in the back of your mind, chasing pigs into water with trying to get your dogs out. Is there a croc going to come up and take me or the dog?
Yeah,
for sure.
When we're talking about Cunnamulla, that's another area. So we've gone from the far northern parts of Queensland now to the central southwestern parts of Queensland.
Yeah.
Mate, Cunnamulla is a very arid, dry place. I spent a lot of time out there when I was a young fella, shooting pigs and roos and doing all that stuff as you do when you follow your parents around.
That's it.
Tell me about your experiences out there.
We go, a few mates of ours. So a mate of mine, he's got some really good friends out there that own a couple of properties out there, and there's one certain property out there that no one really goes on. So we've been out there quite a few times, and the amount of pigs on there it's incredible. It's 48,000 acres of mulga scrub and back channel kind of country, which it's pretty amazing. Yeah. You could drive around certain places out there and shoot pigs and shoot roos and come back and do it all again.
Yeah.
Obviously, we always try to catch a couple of little fellas and hang on to them. But yeah, it's they're probably the best we did. I've got some photos, probably about 254. The ones we kind of count over 80 kilos.
Yeah, well, it's a lot of pig out there. But for people listening, it's not a matter of just going out there and shooting animals for fun. It's about culling the land of these animals because they need their land out there for their grazing and of course the crops.
Sure. There is a sheep property that we go to, and not only that, the feral cats out there. You see the damage and destruction they do to the native fauna and wildlife out there.
Yeah.
Some of the cats we've shot out there, they look like tigers.
Yeah.
And not only that, they take down livestock as well, or baby lambs when it's lambing season.
Yep.
They'll take them out. But just to see what they actually do to the native birds out there, it's pretty crazy. Yeah.
And that's one of the scariest parts that a lot of people don't understand is how ferocious the land can be when it comes to feral animals.
Yeah, for sure. And like the pigs if they put crops in, they'll decimate a crop, and that's someone's wages. And they're an introduced species. Like everyone goes on about, you shouldn't shoot pigs, shouldn't shoot that. I said, well, everyone doesn't mind killing the cane toad.
No, all that
what's
is true.
I don't want to say what's the difference, So as long as it's done humanely, and away you go.
Yeah, that's pretty much it, mate.
Yeah.
Back to cotton tree. Let's jump back to here now. We're talking about some of the best seafood in southeast Queensland's found right on your doorstep. Tell me about the catches that people wanting to come to this area. What can they experience? Where do they go? What do they do?
So we got some, obviously Mooloolaba King Prawn is one of the most famous prawns, I suppose, on the east coast of Australia. And basically it's 5 minutes down the road.
Yeah.
You got the co-ops down there.
Fresh from the boats.
Fresh from the boats, straight off the boats. The boat might come in that night and you're buying it that morning.
I noticed you have a fella that comes around the park here with his refrigerated truck.
Yes,
that sells out to people who are camping or staying in the caravans.
And they are fresh prawns. Yeah.
I mean, does it get any better than that? Seriously. And I remember as a kid growing up, I grew up in caravan parks when I was a young fella. Is that, back then you could buy and sell fish and all that sort of stuff. Or sell your catch.
Yeah.
But that was the thing, is that waiting for that dude to come around with a fresh catch, if you hadn't caught your own fish or whatever. Or B, back then you could actually sell it, so you could go around and make some pocket money, but you can't do that nowadays unless you've got a licence, by the way.
That's it.
But it's a pretty good experience to sit back and get some prawns delivered to your campsite.
It is great, and people love it. People do ask me all the time, "Oh, is the prawn guys coming through today? And what are they doing?"
Yeah.
Weekends is another thing too. We usually get food vans in as well, which makes people happy.
Yep.
Every Saturday night we've got the pizza guys that come in. They do wood-fired pizzas.
Is that right?
Which is pretty fantastic. They do a prawn pizza as well, and they might mix it up and they might do nachos in the pizza oven as well. I was telling you, in the COVID, a good friend of mine, Nev, we were eating oysters like they were lollies.
Down in the pizza oven?
Yeah, and the pizza oven, So, Kilpatrick was fantastic. Yeah.
Mate, the water shining in front of us is pretty cool. I do recall we were staying over on the other side of the river there with an anaconda team meeting that we're doing over there, like a team building exercise. And I put a few of the team into our boat and we brought them down to the entrance to the Maroochy here, and mate, the fishing was just phenomenal. The hardy heads were schooling up. We had the cast net. In Queensland, everybody, you can use a cast net to catch a bait. So, I'm always a big advocate. Find your bait, you'll find your fish. And we cast netted some hardy heads, and I had the boys in the boat, and we put a hardy head underneath the jaw, out through his nose, flicked it in behind these small breaks. Every cast was a fish. Every cast was a flathead. Yeah,
look, there's flatties out there. You get the tailor every now and again coming through. In the COVID lockdown, we were down here because there was no one here. And we're actually catching mac tuna off the beach here, which was pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Kids able to ball with it.
I can imagine.
Not that they're good eating fish, but they're good fighting fish, and you
That's right.
put them back in the water.
Light tackle, yeah.
But yeah, it's good fun. And there's plenty of whiting out there as well.
It's one of those things. I just saw a couple of kids pass by on the surfboards as well. So even for the kids, I mean, I'm talking about a little sand spit here that is a river that you just get this little wraparound effect of where a wave rolls in, very similar to the Richmond River of Ballina, where you get a wave pushing in about 2 kilometres upstream. And it's very similar here. We are very close to the entrance, but you've got that nice little break that's about knee deep. So kids wanting to learn on a softboard, Anaconda have the softboards, is get down there, grab a board, grab the kids and come up here and put them in the water, get them learning.
Yeah, get them into it. My kids, they love the water. They're all into surfing, shortboards, longboards, paddleboards.
Yeah.
They've got all the gear and they love it out there. Especially my little fella, he's 12 now. He's growing up here at the park. And they're all water babies, but he just loves his surfing. Yeah.
Trent, tell me about being a park manager. What's the life like, mate?
It has its moments. It's not all beer and skittles, but it's like any job. You have your challenges, dealing with the public every day. What we have found since pre-COVID, or pre-COVID now, I should say, a lot more people are a bit more demanding with what they want, and with the mending box being cleaned, we have a great staff that basically the mending box are getting cleaned all day. Touch points, all that kind of thing, but we just find a few people are a bit more demanding with hand sanitisers and stuff, if people stop nicking my bottles.
And they're not cheap. You're paying $12 for like 150 mils.
That's it. But yeah, it is what it is. So you just roll with the punches. But other than that,
What about New Year's Eve, Christmas Eve, all those sorts of times, holiday times? I'd imagine, given you'd have a park of, how many sites do you have?
Just under 500.
Okay, just under 500. Generally you'd have, I don't know, how does the government say that an average family is 3.7? Oh, no, I'm throwing that figure out there, but there's a point. There's a decimal point. Yeah. Why can't they just say a family of, say, 5? Because some have 4 and some have, 3 there's 6. So, how about we split the difference?
Yeah. Oh, look, I totally agree with that.
Is that because the the budget minister dude can't add up?
I don't know, mate. I don't know.
We're going to give it a 0.7.
We've got a state election coming up anyway, haven't we?
Well, yeah, I know. Well, that's being
another
dated.
story.
So whoever gets in, good on you. Anyway, mate, we'll see what happens. But I guess, so we're talking around, say, 1,500 people on this site
At least.
at Christmas
least.
time.
Yeah, we kind of work on about 1,800 to 1,900.
Yeah, okay.
New Year's Eve, obviously, you get more because their friends come through.
Yep.
But yeah, look, most like Christmas time, you roll with the punches as well. Like toilet paper's our biggest thing.
People nicking it?
Oh yeah, like people.
Or
people,
you need to stock it?
Oh, we stock it. We stock it in pallets.
So were you one of those people during COVID that you went to Costco and you'd take 3 pallet loads and chuck them in the boot?
No, I was giving it out to people actually. I had the big rolls.
You're the big...
And my mates would be ringing, well, we can't get those.
Mate, you got confusion with the paper toweling that you hang in the kitchen. Just
no, like our big rolls we put in.
You got the big rolls.
The big rolls we put in.
Right.
We have got the smaller rolls we use in our cabins and our beach house we got here.
Yeah.
But I still had, for some reason, I ordered a whole heap, which was a miracle in disguise. But I had heaps of toilet paper, so mates would be ringing up or someone would come into the office. Yeah, we've got a spare roll. Yeah, sure, mate, no worries. So it didn't mind me too much. We're giving it out. And look, most of the toilet paper is made in Australia anyway.
Well, I know that.
So,
right?
yeah,
okay, I think it was in Adelaide, if I'm correct.
Yes, it is, yeah. So, look, I think it's a bit of a scaremongering thing by
people who buy 3 pallets at once.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
And there's none left.
That's it, exactly. if you're selling packets of Vindaloo, that would have been a different story as well. So, yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. I did buy 40 kilos of rice, which I still have at home. Mate, when it comes to insects, one thing I've noticed here at Cotton Tree, a lot of people might be thinking, oh yeah, you're on the beach, you're sort of on a river. We're talking mosquitoes, we're talking midgies. I have not felt a midgie, and midgies love me. So for some reason, I don't know what it is. I love my Vegemite. They still crack me.
Because where we are, we're pretty much beach. We haven't got a lot of mud around.
Yeah.
Obviously, midgies like the mud as well, and they like stagnant water. We've always got flowing water here. It doesn't matter what time of day, wherever it is, we've always got moving water out the front here. Because the river splits, when it comes into the river mouth, it splits around Goat Island. There's always movement in the water, so the midgies can't breed basically. So they need stagnant water to breed.
Mate, any dilemmas on seeing some big waves crashing through here at times? When a cyclone comes, what's your role? What's your protocol when we see some nasty weather push down the east coast?
Basically, we move everyone out of this top campground. We call it the point.
Yep.
We move them all out down to safer ground. We've only been evacuated twice through our time we've been here.
Yep.
We got everyone out of the park that was here within an hour and a half, so it was pretty good.
Yep.
And we moved up to higher ground. But look, if that's going to happen, a lot of people know to move back into the park.
Yeah.
And a lot of people go home as well.
Yeah.
We try to send people home because we don't want that responsibility of old mate up there in the top there who doesn't want to move. If something does happen, well, that's on my head. Yeah.
So. And that's it. And mate, what about the kids? What are your kids like growing up in a park? I mean, is that something that they love, or they get a little bit, bored with it? What is it?
They love it. They treat it as their backyard. Growing up as a kid, obviously we all had our little backyards and stuff like that. We're your local park. They treat this as their backyard. They look after it. Like my 8-year-old came back the other day. She was riding a bike up around this point, and she came back with a bag full of rubbish. It's just little bits and pieces like that she's found on the beach, and she'll go and chuck in the bin.
Do your kids spend much time on PS4s and all that sort of PlayStation stuff? Is that something you try and, because kids and technology these days, they've got to grow up with it. As much as we are maybe as our generation against it, but the technology that they are learning is going to obviously help them when they're older and getting a job. So how do you do that with your kids?
It's a time management thing with them. Obviously, if the surf's pumping, they'll all be out here surfing.
Yeah.
Like I was saying to you before, my eldest now, he's 18 now, so he's left school and he's doing music. So when he's not jamming with his mates and at uni, he'll be home surfing. And if it's on a weekend, he'll take the others down with him, take them surfing, so we can still work, obviously, and because I'm looking after the little ones. Well, when I say little, they're 12 and 14, 12 and 8 now. So
Yeah,
the little ones, but
they're slowly, and they'll grow up. They'll soon get to 18. But as soon as you click your fingers, they're going to be leaving home to campsite number 28.
yeah, basically.
Mate.
Cracker.
Exactly. Mate, your young fella, you're telling me earlier about he's being a muso.
Yeah, a muso.
So people at home can tune in and listen up to some of his songs. What's going on there Spotify?
He's got a band, it's called Nana's Pie.
Nana's Pie.
Nana's Pie.
Okay,
where that
cool.
came from, I don't know.
Yeah.
They kind of
Nana's Pie.
Nana's Pie. So there's three of them. So this Tylee's like a lead singer, and there's Adam and Ash who are twins, and they've grown up together. So they went to kindy together.
Yeah, wow.
And they're just great mates. I call them the Three Musketeers.
Yeah.
And they're all down to earth kids, and just giving it a crack. So they've got quite a few songs and original stuff, and they'll be playing at one of the local bars up here this Sunday actually for the first paid gig. So they're pretty happy about that.
Good on them.
They've been down, played at Fortitude Valley, and opened up for a few bigger bands, and so yeah, they're
you know another band that kicked it off pretty well. You may not have heard of them. You may have heard of them, and it had pie in their name as well, and that was Eskimo Pie.
Eskimo Pie.
So back over there, maybe someone could have been sitting there having a chat, saying, "Hey, Eskimo Pie, what's the difference?" Nana's Pie.
Nana's Pie's better, apparently. It's made with love.
And lots of chicken.
That's it. Yeah.
Or cream cheese, either one.
Either one, but yeah.
Mate, so anyone heading up here around Australia, you've really got to stop off at Cotton Tree Caravan and Camping Grounds. Come and say g'day to Trent. He's going to look after you there. Family run and owned operated business that they have here. Mate, this is your fourth tender.
Yes.
So you've got a little while to go, obviously, and mate, the way you're running the park and how friendly everybody is with you and you to them, I can see this going on for a hell of a long time now.
Yeah, it is. It's great, and I love it. Coming from a building background as well, so coming out of the mines and being concrete pumps and concrete and all that kind of stuff, it's great to spend time with the kids as well. Yeah. But I love it. I love the industry, and I love this kind of stuff with you guys, and it's pretty cool.
Mate,
I might be your sidekick one day.
Mate, you can be my sidekick any day. That is fine. Speaking of that, I might as well just get up and you can talk to the camera.
Why not?
How does that sound?
Yeah, it sounds great. It sounds awesome. Yeah.
Are you into podcasts?
Yeah, I am. Yeah, I do listen to them every now and again. Yeah, it's pretty busy running the park and obviously with the kids, and we've got a fair bit of staff here as well, and just trying to balance everything. And on our days off, we do renos on houses. So go figure. Yeah. Not that I'm
being a home renovator, what sort of jobs do you like to do with that? I mean, you do everything, kitchen, bathroom. Do you delegate that back out, outsource to other people?
we do it all. I've got a good mate of mine, Dan. He's a cracker. He gives me a hand doing. He's a cabinet maker by trade, so he gives me a hand doing the kitchens and stuff like that. So we buy them, we put them together. Nat and I, my beautiful wife, we probably had 14 million divorces trying to do renos on houses, but that's how it goes. But well, you met her before. She's a cracker. Yeah. She's full of life. So yeah, it's good fun. Takes the stress out of stuff sometimes. Like we're picking tiles for another place we've got down in Golden Beach, which is another perfect spot on the coast. Yeah. And she was asking about these tiles, and I said, you just pick them. Yeah. But what do you think? I think great.
I'm going to ask you a question about that. When it comes to Caloundra region, okay, you know this area better than a lot of people. Who named Golden Beach, Dicky Beach? What other beaches are in the middle there? You've got
Moffat Beach. You've got
and then go further south. What's between
Kings
Dicky Beach, Kings Beach, and then Golden Beach?
That's Kings. That's all Kings through there.
Yeah. Okay.
Dicky Beach was named after the SS Dicky. It was an actual ship that got shipwrecked there. It was a Scottish. It was a Scottish ship. Okay. Which they took it out not long ago because it got a bit too dangerous. Right. That was the SS Dicky, so Dicky Beach got named after. Okay. Dicky Beach. Yeah. Kings Beach, wouldn't have a clue. Moffat was from the headland, I think. Moffat Heads.
Isn't there a booby beach down there?
No, you're talking about Noosa. You're talking about A Bay, mate.
Yeah, that's it. Okay, you know what that is. One. Yeah. But Golden Beach, I mean, that's obviously Golden Sands.
Golden Beach, I'm not too sure. So Golden Beach was... The guy that actually had all Golden Beach many, many moons ago was the Hensel's family, which is Hensel's real estate today. Okay. So basically the grandfather, Mr. Hensel, bought all that land. Wow. And then he developed it. And he might have named, I'm not too sure. Okay. Not too sure about that. But Golden Beach, it's a golden place. It's awesome down there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not as good as here, but yeah, it's beautiful down there. It is.
And that's
good
the thing
spot.
about the Sunny Coast is it's spread so far from, Noosa to Caloundra.
Yeah.
And really, you can have a lot of people here, but it's just spread out. So
It
it
is,
does make
yeah.
it for quite an experience.
Yeah, for sure. And look, Sunny Coast as a whole, it's a great spot. Like, I love the Gold Coast, I love Brisbane as well, but up here I just think it's a little bit more relaxed.
Yeah.
Not as hustle and bustle. But yeah, it all depends what you want to do, where you want to be.
Yep.
Go to Cape York. There's
I
no
know,
one up there.
I know. And that's the trip that we'll plan down the track, and that'll come up on an episode of Step Outside. Mate,
Yeah.
cheers, buddy.
Cheers, mate.
Good talking to you. And next time you're on your adventure around this beautiful country of ours, make sure you come through Queensland, stop off. So there you have it. Next time you're around the country, come on up here to Cotton Tree Beach. Come and see Trent and his family. Get the point. Campsites here are absolutely amazing. And I'll tell you what, it's an absolute gorgeous spot here on the southeast coast of Queensland. Thanks for your time, mate.
Cheers, mate.
Good on you, buddy.
Thanks, guys. Cheers.
Well, that's it for this week's Step Outside podcast. Next week, we jump on board Big Cat Reality, a large mothership that ventures hundreds of miles off the Queensland coastline. We jump on board and have a chat with the legendary skipper himself, James McVeigh. That's next week on the Step Outside podcast.